Hey everyone, welcome to this case study interview. Basically, what we're going to be talking about is some an awesome result and an interview, but we're also going to be talking about stuff that we're seeing that's changed in the market and how you can basically change your marketing and your sales process because I want these videos to be really helpful for you to watch as well. It's not just a matter of just, hey, this is a result and that's it. These videos are meant to help you. So yeah, stick around to the end. You trust me, you will be glad that you did, and we'll just get straight into it. So firstly, I'd like to introduce you to this person that you see here with me right now. His name's Richard. I'll get Richard to introduce himself properly. But firstly, Richard, thank you so much for jumping on here. Would you be able to introduce yourself quickly first?
Sure. My name's Richard Mallinson. I'm the Youth Development Director here at Sportcrat East in Dundee. We've got a 2,500 square foot facility. We have a number of coaches and members of staff. We run the facility currently 6 days a week, and through the partnership with Swat and his team, by the end of the year, we'll be operating 7 days in the facility.
Nice, that's brilliant. Like just to give you an idea, obviously you guys have seen the title of this video, but like what kind of results? Let's just start with the result because in the day that's going to make people want to watch this more, I think. So,
Yeah.
what results have you had? I mean, you've been with us now. Actually, you've been working with me for longer than a year, but with this partnership, it's been an year. Where were you and where are you at now?
Okay. So when I started the partnership arrangement with Swap, we'd just with 225 on our books. Yeah. Since that time, we have increased another 222 people. In terms of revenue, we've added 682,428 pounds of lifetime value. Our lifetime value is £3,074, and our cost of acquisition is 125 and 5 pence for acquiring a new person. So we've grown revenue wise about 40% over the 12 months.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. I think one of the first things that people will be thinking is 600 grand. How is your lifetime value so much? Because majority of people they don't have a 3 grand lifetime value. So that's something that we'll go into in a bit. But I think that'd be quite useful for people to understand. But one thing I want you guys to know is that can you see how clearly Richard knows his numbers and what it is? It's one of the biggest things that I learned as well as been growing businesses and stuff is once you track numbers, you need to track numbers. You need to know exactly what's coming in, what's going out. But it's not just that. It's like Richard just said, the cost of acquisition, what your lifetime value. So these are important metrics that you should actually know off top of your head, really. So that's awesome, really. I think it's been such a great partnership with you, and I think it'd be quite good let's talk about what were you doing before? Like before, let me just give you a quick context to everyone as well. So Richard joined my one-to-one mentorship quite a few years back as well, which was the tap system mentorship, which I still got nowadays as well. But the partnership is probably the bigger thing that we are focusing on. But so Richard started to understand online marketing from that. But what would be good for people to hear, I think, Richard, is what were you doing before? Uh, like what were you struggling with? How was you marketing your business? And then what actually changed? So let's talk about what were you doing because I think it'd be quite relevant.
So you want to chat about what we did before we had the one-to-one?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
maybe go back a little bit because I think that's going to be a bit more relatable. Like because you were, how many members were you at? Do you remember when before doing the tap system? Roughly.
100 odd. I could look it
Yeah.
back, and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
we were doing fine in terms of. I was but before the tap system. I was a one-man band. I did everything,
yeah.
everything. Yeah, and when I got the coaching from Swapnil here, he introduced a tap system that helped me free up some time, increased automation, and more importantly, increased the volume of quality leads coming towards us. Yeah. So that was like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a one-man band, and now that the world's changed for us. So now I've got a team in place. As I said, we're going to 7 days a week. I operate or I'm in the dojo a couple of times a week. But the rest of the time that the team is managing the business and everything from inquiries all the way to signing up, all the way to coaching, and it's given us, huge amount of freedom as an individual. In terms of where we where we came from and where we went to, so I was I was very naive. Or, well, I was the worst type of person. I thought I knew stuff.
Yeah.
I thought I knew stuff. Facebook and you know put an ad together and all this type of stuff. Yeah, and we were getting inquiries. Now the quality of the inquiries could be questionable at certain points in time. Yeah. And then when I got the mentoring for SWAT and we started to implement the TAP system, first of all, I understood that I really didn't understand images and copy and headlines. Yeah. Um, and how to put that together. And through that coaching, we improved that. So I was still doing that activity. Yeah. I was throwing ads out there with success, and our numbers continued to grow as we did that. But I really didn't understand it the way I do now, and the change in the partnership now is really added so much value, not just monetary value, but understanding of um, how to advertise and attract the right type of people to your business, how to systemize and automate to create freedom of time and resource to be laser focused on what has to happen for continuous growth. Um,
I think so just to give you an idea if you're watching this, like, so the tap system is like a foundational kind of thing, but it's like helping you understand how online marketing works, implementing systems so that it frees you up. And then after that, obviously Richard joined the partnership program. The partnership is more like scaling, but you also get a lot of coaching in there as well. So it's like, what would you say? Would you say that the mentorship program was a great place to start first, or would you say like this is? I'm just curious for myself here. So like the partnership program, you've been in it for a little while. Would you say the mentorship helped in going through that first?
Undoubtedly, the mentorship helped. When I came into to your world, and then we moved on to partnership program, having those foundations and understanding, I don't know without that if I would be as successful as I am now. Because basically, it's the foundations, it's the building blocks, it's understanding, you know, um, the acronyms, the whole, how you put things together. And indeed, in doing those foundations, it didn't just deliver in terms of marketing, but it changed how I operated my business in terms of, the whole customer journey and how automated and how systemized we are and how powerful video content is round about that. So though before we had those foundations of tap that we were doing okay, it really set us in a different path. And then when we joined the partnership and been with the partnership for 12 months, it's just wow,
Oh,
skyrocketed for us.
oh, brilliant. I mean, so what would you say? Let's talk about the partnership as well a bit, because that's one of the main ones. what were you, even though you learned the ad system as well and stuff, what would you say you were doing differently before joining the partnership? Like, how has the partnership helped you skyrocket? What would you say has been like key things for you that has helped you scale, basically?
That's kind of okay. Um, so in terms of the actual ad, you know, image, copy, headlines, really, I was throwing stuff at the wall and it was sticking. But I didn't really understand it the way that the partnership arrangement educates me on. Though I don't have to manage that, it's managed for me. Yeah. But understanding it, it's like, wow, I was so amateurish before. I was getting results, so I'm not complaining, but I was so amateurish round about that. Then understanding content, content in terms of content marketing. Again, that was another uh, switch, a light bulb of activity. And behind the content, then it was looking at broadening out from just talking to people about martial arts to talking about other things and how that was more important in terms of giving direct value straight away to the individuals in terms of the kind of marketing piece. But I look at the marketing and the adverts as just a small percentage. The the ongoing mentorship and problem solving that takes place every week. So you have immediate. Every business has um, putting out fires, things that's important today. Yeah, and what the twice a week call does for us is we put those fires out, create strategies, implement that, and move forward. In addition to that, we have monthly one-to-one opportunities to really dive deep into my business and where we are today, where we want to go, and how we're going to identify the right stepping stones for that. And on top of that, then we have masterminds and individuals and the latest and greatest thoughts round about becoming a thought leader and how the industry is changing and what we need to do to attract the right type of individual towards my business. So when before even the tap system, um, we were getting people to come, or you're spending a lot of time chasing up people who were, I'll call them tire kickers. Sorry if you were a tire kicker, but not the right avatar. Now we've really dialed into the avatar of my business, the type of people that we're looking for, the good fit, how we can show great value to them as individuals. Yeah. And SWAT and the team spent a lot of time working with us in terms of identifying that and in relation to where our end goal was. The end goal was to extract me out of the business, which we've been very successful in doing that while still growing the business.
Yeah, I think it's you've laid a lot there actually. So I think for someone listening, so basically just to summarize a bit of that, the partnership program is not just it's called partnership for a reason because we both have to be partners because we can't do all your content and everything, even though we can help, obviously. But the ads is just one small element of it. To grow any kind of business, if you've been in business for a while, you'll know that there are many moving parts. And that's the bit I think Richard's been jumping on all the weekly calls, and this is why we're really big on that because I saw it firsthand in the TAP coaching program that I've got, is that the coaching is such an important element. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is you've been with us now a year with the partnership program. Have you found it to be consistent? How has the growth been? Is there anything that you can share on that side of things? Because if someone's watching this and thinking, I don't know if I can commit a year into this, what would you like say to them? Like, is a year something that the people have to do, or how would you describe it?
I would say that if you can't commit to a year, you're not going to get the type of results that most businesses hoping to do to grow. Yeah. So you have to say, first of all, can I show up and do the heavy lifting that's responsible for me? So the commitment that I would suggest that any business should be doing is then, if I want to grow consistently and strategically and have the opportunities to get more of my time back, yeah, while still delivering great value to people, that you have to say, I will show up on the calls, I will take actions, we will work together in terms of the strategy that's appropriate for your business to achieve those goals. But if you don't show up and to the calls and you don't take the actions, then I would suggest that you'll get limited results from the partnership. So my business made an absolute commitment that we would come to all of the calls. Yeah, we would engage and put out those day-to-day fires, but still looking towards the strategic end of the 12 months, where we wanted to be, how we wanted to interact, and how we would change from um, being a McDonald's kind of scenario where lots of volume to Gordon Ramsay's, and I'm stealing Swart's stuff here, yeah, of knowing exactly what type of clientele that we were drawn towards. Yeah. And that's been very successful for us.
Yeah, I think it's how would you describe these calls? Like, what is it? Just because I spoke to someone the other day and they've been in other programs and stuff like that, and they were like, I don't really want to be jumping on just coaching calls and stuff because they think this is exactly the same as what other programs are like. Um, you've been in a few different programs as well. So how would you describe how is this different? How would you say what would you say is different about it and how come it made an impact basically?
So the twice weekly calls, we'll not talk about the the twice weekly calls, what that does for us. First and foremost, you will be initially talking about the performance and the amount of leads and the quality of leads that are coming towards you. It will also identify um, what strategies may work in your area versus other areas. You're also getting an industry overview. So though we're all very focused on our individual business, having a broader perspective and people that can share strategies and tactics and ways of operating that can help your business move forward. It's not. It is. It is not a. I'm trying to find the right words here. It is not about Swat and his team just telling us things. It's about us sharing opportunities to improve successes that we've had in one part of the country and been able to implement it in another part of the country. It's about us um, dealing with the day to day stuff, but more importantly, it's really about it's about I've really lost the words here. It's really about um,
It's like masterminding, isn't it, in a way?
yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah. I was trying not to use that word because
yeah,
some people are associating mastermind with just inform. So I've been in various things where it's information overload. Yeah, it can be just and you're like, but just tell me what I need to do today.
yeah.
What do I need to move the needle today? Yeah, what are the actions I should take when I come off this call to move the needle today and tomorrow and the day after? So it's um, bite-sized chunks that you can digest, yeah, and it makes you stronger and cleverer, and you're moving along that pathway, yeah, as opposed to I'm overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, yeah. It is easy because you're only taking small steps This what is the saying? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the single step.
Yeah.
Well, I look at the calls as being those opportunities. It's just another step and another step. So you don't realize that you've went so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. 12 months, it was a blink.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking that we were just started. But SWAT and the team, they really know my business inside out, the things that's important to me, the values, how we operate, how we want to present ourselves to the marketplace and to our community. Yeah. And that takes a period of time. So back to your original question about 12 months, that we need those 12 months. We're just getting started, in my opinion, because now we know each other, on the calls and in the broader community. Then this year is going to be the exciting year
I'm
in the
excited
change.
to see.
Absolutely. But because we kind well
We've got all
we
the
know we
systems in
can
place,
trust
isn't
each
it?
other.
Yeah,
We've got
got to.
all the systems in place just to take it to the next level.
So I mean, like, I think the calls can also be looked at as like weekly accountability, which is really important, you know, and then we're all on the same page. So yeah,
Well, on that weekly accountability, we talked about the cost of acquisition and leads and all that stuff. On the weekly calls, you need to bring your stats. You need to say, okay, these are the amount of leads we've had from Facebook, the website, all over. How many of those, did you contact? How many of those signed in for a trial? How many turned up at trial? How many then signed up? And in each of those areas, yeah, identifying where a problem is. Oh, well, 30 were supposed to turn up this week and one showed up. That means that my business has got a problem at that bit. Yeah. And SWAT and the team then help us with strategies to move it down the funnel.
yeah,
Yeah. Until we end up with more and more sign-ups at the end of it. But we have to bring our data and we have to know our data and take the actions off of those suggestions. So if the team is saying, look, Richard, you may need to add a bit more, when you get a lead in, picking up the phone straight away or sending out a text message or an email or whatever, and we are implementing that from the stats, we can see the change in terms of how many extra people we're pushing down that funnel
yeah.
and the quality of the people changes over a period of time. You know, so it might have been that you had a bigger volume, yeah, and it like, oh, that sounds great. I got X amount of leads. That for me, that's a vanity metrics.
Yeah.
How many leads I get? It doesn't matter how many leads I got. How many folk did I sign up?
Yeah.
How many folk? How many people were the right fit for our what we could offer? Yeah, and that's really invaluable that we're doing that at twice. You know, once a week's the stats, but twice a week we're analysing each step of that and the fluctuations, and there is going to be changes. And you know, though the team shares with us the cost per lead, it doesn't matter if you know your lifetime value and what the cost of acquisition is. That fluctuation should have no impact on you in terms of um, your strategy and how you're moving things forward, in my opinion.
That is such an important point. I was about to ask you about that. So, because a lot of people just talk about lead cost and stuff, and I'm so glad that you mentioned about the funnel because sometimes it's just a matter of improving your show up rate, improving close rate, improving lead to booking. But most people don't look in them stats, you know. So, but they're the big levers that you need to be touch because one of the things that, like you just mentioned, we noticed the ad spend it fluctuates. The ad cost, sorry, lead cost. You know, like for example we're getting back to school like now, and I know for a fact from last year that it'll go up. But most people will panic. But the thing is that you need to think about your lifetime value, how much it costs to acquire someone. Because then, like Richard has said, is you will not be too bothered if your lead cost went to 20 quid, for example, because or even 30 to be fair, if you're signing up that's worth someone worth 2, 3 grand, it's still very cheap. But this is a big mindset thing that you need. like you need to understand is this is all part of marketing, but you need to know these figures. And I'm so glad you brought that up because it's such a big nugget. If you take one big thing from this interview is that measuring your stats, you don't have to be a maths geek or something like that to know this kind of stuff. It's quite simple. It literally becomes a game then where you're trying, okay, how can we tweak these little things, increments? You can't just suddenly make a big change and it happen like the weekly stuff. This is why we have it weekly. So no, that's brilliant. I'm so glad you brought that up. Um, yeah, go. Yeah, you're gonna
And
say.
in relation to that as well, you know, we talk about knowing our stuff, but I know every single day those numbers, how many people we've pushed down the funnel. The exciting bit now is that I've been in the partnership for a year. I've got a year's worth of data that now we can compare and contrast and squeeze it even further
Yeah,
in the next 12 months, you know, because, you know, I've had to have that accountability. I have had to show up with that data and understanding it. Well, Swapnil knows me pretty well. I am a data geek, so that just fits perfectly into me. But it doesn't take any time. I can't take credit for that work. My CRM manager, God bless Norma, yeah, she provides me it before the call time. Make sure that everything is perfect so that I know exactly my figures. So it doesn't have to be you, and it doesn't have to be complicated to know where you are at any given point in time in the week.
nice. We'll talk about Norma in a bit because I think that's quite an important thing actually, which I see a lot of school owners struggle on. And I think it'd be helpful that we talk a little bit about that. So now let's just quickly talk like how many you're about 400 odd members now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
425.
How has that impacted your life? Like, let's talk about the one of the main reasons people get into business. Like, when you have right systems and you start growing and stuff, it impacts your life. So how has it impacted yours?
I used to, well, how it's impacted me now is I've got freedom. Yeah. So I'm not in the business every day. Yeah. My family, I've got a grandson now. I spend 3 days a week quality time with my grandson. Yeah. I have the opportunity to be away, yeah, and the business operates by itself. Um, financial freedom as well as quality of family time is real important to me. I'm a, a middle youth, yeah, where before, tied to the business, before I had the opportunity to, to before COVID, I was a one man band. Everything, including cleaning the toilets, was on me. And now, look, it's a couple of days a week, in terms of actually delivering. Uh, I'll always coach. I love coaching. I love sharing. I love seeing people grow. Yeah. So that's always going to be part. But having the flexibility, there's not a single function in the business I have to do. Not a single function in the business I have to do. Um, between the partnership and the team we've got, they don't need me. You know, I think they need me, but they don't really need me. Um, yeah, so it's totally changed my life. Totally changed my life.
Ah, that's brilliant. That's what it should be like. In the day we get into business, then you get into it, and then you realize you got an underpaid job in a way for a while. I've been there many times, so I get it. But it takes a bit of time to build the systems in, but it's so important, isn't it? Is because then you can get someone else to fulfill it, and then gives you time back. So I'm so glad. I always love hearing back. You're able to spend time with your grandsons. So great, yeah. So let's just talk about few more things. I don't want to make this interview too long for people. So I think there's a couple of things that would be really helpful to talk about. The bits that I see people struggle on is firstly lead generation. Everyone talks about that. Then lead conversion, which is the normal bit. And then obviously most people don't really reach the scaling bit so much, so we won't go into that too much. But I think the thing is that what people want to know is how they can take how can they remove themselves from the business, because at the end of the day that's quite a big thing. So like let's talk about quickly about lead generation. What have you found? What tips can you give to someone on if they're trying to go, okay, I just need leads. I just need people to walk through the doors. Um, can you share a few tips and stuff that you found that work? It doesn't just have to be online, but even offline as well. Something that you think that is helpful, has been helpful for you.
Well, what's been helpful for me is, the image, the copy, and the headlines in terms of grabbing their attention initially, and how that is critical. Also in terms of the content marketing, in terms of people being able to understand that know, like, and trust your organization. Um, in terms of it, then putting their hand up saying, I'm maybe interested. Yeah, that it's real important to, if you do get an inquiry, that you jump on it straight away. And what I mean by that is you pick up the phone. In addition to having automation in place that can help you with that when you're not available, people want to talk to people, and then to be able to identify what you can actually do to help them with their particular situation. And one of the things that the partnership's done for our business in relation to that too is changed that when we're asking those questions and actively listening, that we're broadening out the suggestions that can be implemented in the home environment straight away, um, that are not martial art specific, but it may be a pain point for that particular. And most of our business is kids, yeah. So if Johnny isn't very focused, what can we do to help that mum and dad, not just in a martial arts environment? So those kind of things where you're showing value straight away, the fact that you're engaging with a person straight away if an inquiry comes in, and then taking them through the process, is important. And I get it. You can't be all things to all people all the time. And we were talking about Norma. That's my CRM manager. Yeah. And folks said, well, I can't afford. I can't afford. That's fine for you, Richard. It's like, well, the easy way to have someone that is part of your team is build it into uh, a joining fee. So our cost model says when someone joins us, there's a joining fee. Yeah. And that allows you to have someone on your team that can take over that lifting. So that was the kind of second stage for me, was that taking that responsibility away from me in terms of bringing people towards our business. Then we, of course, had to deliver world class coaching services. Yeah, absolutely. In the intro, deliver what we do day in, day out. The actual sell is not my CRM managers talking to people. It is what's done on the mat. That's what parents and the individuals looking to see. Can you help me? And if we're doing that, then the back end of after the trial and signing them up and being able to pay for the resource shouldn't be a challenge, to be honest.
Uh, you just that was such a great explanation. The way you just did. No, it was really good. There's a couple of key things I just want to highlight. Um, There's quite a few actually. So firstly, I think what you mentioned about having a norma is basically that was one of the steps that lets you scale. So I think that's quite important. So if you're the one that is just having to ring all the leads or follow up, most people just don't do enough follow up at all. I spoke to someone the other day and they've been in other coaching programs and stuff, and they're just trying to automate everything. And they go, Swap, can we, if can we just automate? And my answer was no, not everything. We automate a lot, don't get me wrong, it's not that we don't, but the touch of the phone is still such an important element, and I think a lot of people just don't want to do it, and just because people don't pick up their phones, which I understand, But I think what the analogy that I used was what you mentioned earlier with the Gordon Ramsay thing, is like imagine you have like I'll say it here actually. It's such a I think it's quite an important thing because if someone like Gordon, if you book a restaurant, there's two next to each other. One's a Gordon Ramsay and the other one's like another steakhouse or something that's something similar. And which phone are you going to answer? You know, if Gordon Ramsay's team are ringing you, you're going to answer that. Why is that? Because of brand, because of the it's because they've done so much work already, while the other company, no one knows who they are, they don't know how good their food is, and see no testimonials. So this is why it's so important when you're trying to chase people down. If you're saying like, oh, these people are not picking up the phones and stuff, is I'm just going to be honest with you. They just don't care about you, really. If they did, they'd ring you back, but they don't. It's just the reason why is because they just don't know you. So this is what we go deep into this. I did like a full 5 day content marketing thing. Like I know that sounds a lot, but it made such a big difference. Um, but that so it's so important making sure that your follow up is dialed in and then get someone. If you hate getting on phone calls, find someone. This is what Richard was talking about. His Norma is someone that loves getting on phones. I did that with my first business and second and third, because I I'm not a big phone person, but people love getting on phones. Find one, and it's not expensive. It makes a big difference. I think that was a big point for you to jump, wasn't it? I'd say.
Of tremendously, tremendously, because as I say, um, our CRM managers' full focus is about the customer journey. You know, she calls them straight away. And another tip you're saying about tips is that on the run up to the trial, even though we've confirmed with email and text, the day of the trial, we still pick up the phone and say, this is Norma here. Just want to introduce myself. I'm going to be the person that's going to meet and greet you. And suddenly your show up rate's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
You picked up the phone straight away. We still do automation, as you say, where we send an automatic text and an email and all that sequence. We pick up the phone as soon as someone calls us. And the day of trial, even though they've got a text and an email from us saying we're looking forward to you, we still pick up the phone. Suddenly, that that volume that's making it to the bottom of the funnel changes.
What do you do when if someone doesn't pick up the phone when you're doing a confirmation?
Well, if someone doesn't pick up the phone when we're doing the confirmation, then we've got a sequence behind that as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, and it's like, or you hear about ghosting, people not showing up, yeah. Then we'll pick it up with the intention that something has to have happened that they didn't show up, not the oh well, you don't know, like, and trust me enough, and if they don't show up, we need to double down on our content. Yeah, double down on our content. The reason they don't know, like, and trust is because I haven't shared enough things that is applicable to them, that they feel that it is of value to them. If it's Gordon Ramsay that's phoning me to say I've had a cancellation at the restaurant, I'm definitely taking that cancellation. Yeah, definitely. So it's that type of thing that really changed, and allowed us to grow massively, was in terms of our content marketing. So Norma does a fabulous job in terms of down the funnel, but if they don't show up or we don't get the confirmation, then we don't see that as a negative. We see that we need to provide more value to people.
What would you say? Would you say the partnership saved you time in any way?
Oh, Uh, yes, not just in terms of uh, the partnership. What it did for us is you had a real structure in place before we started the journey in the partnership. This is step one, Richard. We're going to do these type of things with you, only these type of things with you, and as we go along this journey, these are the other things that we're going to do together. So I had a great picture in my head from the get-go of where we were going to go. Yeah. And then the team does the hit. I'll give a, a, a simple thing this week as an example. Yeah. Now we've got an opportunity where we're trying to show extra value to our potential clients. Yeah, with giving them some tips about things that they can do with a child. And one of SWAT's team, Barry, um, is taking this action and making sure that we can customize it to an individual, and in addition to that, make it broader for other people by automating that. So we can say, okay, this is the problem for this particular client, and we'll hit this automation with video content, that content that's specifically in relation to what that individual expressed an issue with them. Yeah. So the team, where before I would have spent, and when I had the when we started off the relationship, the TAP system, I would have spent the time trying to remember how to do particular automations or suggestions round about what made sense and how we would put that into our marketing campaign. That I've got support to do that. I see the partnership, yeah, as an extension to the team that I've got. So SWAT SWAT's team is my team. Yeah, they're saving us time, effort, and making us more professional because they're seeing the changes in the industry and what is working and what's not working and how we need to navigate through that situation.
Got another question. How has it impacted? How's your yeah? Let me rephrase. What kind of impact have you had in your community? Would do you think?
Do you mean been? Well, we definitely are significantly we're known
Yeah.
more in the community. Yeah, there's a lot more people who know me as well as Sportcrat East. Yeah, that people believe that they actually know me, and some people I, I don't even know their names, but they really feel they know me because of the content marketing that we're putting out there, and not just me. I mean, they know the activities that we're involved in. They know that how we operate as a business. You know what our core values. They get a feeling of the organisation. They feel that because we're putting stuff out, strategic content based on what we as a business, how we were trying to grow and what was core to us. And what SWAT and his team did was ask appropriate questions, listened intently, then said, okay, this is, if that's where you want to go, these are the systems and the activities you need to do. Richard, you need to be creating X, Y, and Z video content. You need to do this. You need to do that. Yeah. And then we would go away and do that stuff. And then that would be implemented for us. Yeah. But it's definitely a partnership round about, you know, where where marketing is going. So, you know, so wanting the teams get their finger on the pulse about how things are changing, and things that are being successful. So what's brought to us is only things that are proven strategies. It's not I think this. I've read a book. I went to a course. Yeah? It's like no, this is real data based on you know, yeah, real data based on how things are changing. So we get the advantage of I get the advantage of not having to try and keep up with that. I just have to implement the suggestions that are made. Yeah, but it's based on data, and
Yeah.
that's what I love. You know, in God we trust. Everyone else has to bring data. So you know, when I'm getting a strategy or a advice round about making a change or perhaps this is the marketing direction should be going in, is based off of data. So the guesswork's taken out of it.
Brilliant. And the reason why I'm bringing this the community bit and stuff like that is I call it the celebrity effect. So basically, what it is I'll give you this tip basically when since you're watching this, um, is that content has become a big part now. It never was. I mean, it's always been big part, but lately it's even more important. One of the things that you will notice when you're running ads or any kind of marketing is that people are very skeptical these days. It's even lower. So when you run your marketing, they will go and research you. They will go and check your website out. They'll go check. So it's not like what used to be a few years back before pre-COVID stuff, where you could just run an ad and just you'd fill up quite easily. Nowadays there's more competition. There's so many factors. So one of the things that we did with Richard was obviously implement the content machine, and which obviously Richard has to do the content, but we're obviously guiding as much as we can. And probably one of the biggest, I suppose, the biggest things which makes us different is that I'm actually scaling my own businesses as well. So the stuff I'm learning and spending my own ad spend is my learnings. That's why I'm pushing to the whole team and everything, and the clients and stuff. So I think that makes a big difference, really. I think for understanding what works, what doesn't. But if you're stuck in a place where you're like, oh, no one knows you in your area and stuff, then push content out. Don't be afraid to get on camera. It makes a big difference. Once people see you speak, see how you speak, they will naturally want to come to you than your competitors, because your competitors don't want to do that. Do the stuff that your competitors don't want to do. That's the way I look at it. Um, so let's finish off on one question that I think people will probably be thinking. If you're not thinking this, then you should be thinking this. Is um, how have you managed to make your lifetime value so much? The reason why, I mean, we don't have to go as much detail as you did. Like we did a special masterclass for all the clients where we went into every detail, and Richard shared exactly what he's been doing. But one of the things that I think people should really know, like if they don't know their lifetime value, most should know this, but if you don't, definitely find out and work it out. Um, Majority of when I speak to school owners, it's about a grand, roughly, in the industry. How have you like nearly tripled it? Like, how have you like? If can you share a couple of tips? You don't have to share everything.
Sure, no, no problem. Um, so first of all, we pre-frame it even before they come to trial. Yeah, we pre-frame it saying that there is a minimum commitment of time for your child to get the improvements that you're looking for. Yeah, and you've identified three things that you want your child to improve in the next 6 months to a year. Yeah, we put that into their profile. Yeah, we explain to them that our coaches are working towards a common goal, and that it's your responsibility as a parent when Jimmy is on the Xbox and doesn't want to go to karate and says he doesn't like karate. It's not that at all. He's addicted to the game. But if you want to see the results, it's a minimum commitment from you to come. So we pre-frame that. We also make sure that we are, as you would expect, and all martial arts schools do that, provide wonderful lessons. Yeah. But how we extend that time frame is that we will say that the minimum is a year with us, but in reality, it's 2.5 years worth of commitment for someone because we're showing added value all the time. We also, inside that, we have, in addition, most martial arts schools have a progression, belts, different colours. But in addition to that, what we do is we have a separate system, and lots of schools do the lifetime, they do the life skills. But we also have what's called a skyline report. So we will periodically, specifically talk to each individual student and parent about where Johnny or Jeanette is at that point in time, and then make recommendations and suggestions about things that can help them. That may well be things that you know. So we've created a longer period of time that people are getting to know us and value our services, then we'll add other things in, like our camps. Yeah, we'll add in things that so parents quite often will have the opportunity if they want to come to our flexibility program that we'll discount that. So we're upselling the value of that. So we've got Johnny or Jeanette who comes to class and mum or dad who comes to stretching class. We half the price of stretching class for mum or dad. That's an extra body. But yeah, they come to camp, they go to development events. You know, we're showing extra value all the time. So we have a strategy of stacking value that is to that individual and it's custom to that individual. So that's how we do that. And year on year, we increase our fees. Don't be frightened to increase your fees. You know, doesn't matter where you are. If you are it's a joke in our organisation. Oh, the fees will go up by £4 a year, £4 a month each year. And the rationale behind that, for our point of view, oh, it's an extra £1 a week, no big deal. It's no big deal, no big deal. But that's how you can quite easily change from being at whatever your number is starting is relevant. But every year it's just going up and up. And if you're holding them for longer and your fees are going up and up, then that's why your lifetime value and your revenue increases. So everyone has, not everyone, yeah. So lots of people have grading fees if they're sitting exams. They've got camp opportunities. I've encouraged that. Development days, workshops, yeah. All of those things add value. Your standard uniform, everyone grows up, so that there's kit each year. So we add that in and we know that. We know what that is. So that's why and we went into real detail about that on in the partnership group, all about every individual item and what that cost and how we valued that and how we moved it forward. So hopefully that's of some value.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think what this is something I've also been learning from my own mentor, well, for the past year and a bit, which has made quite a big difference, is that your back end is very, very important. That's where you make most of your money. So you need to get good at what you do. If your retention is not good, then you need to fix that first because you'll just be churning through. You can't always be going after new people, new people. That's tiring. It's much better to have such a great product and service where people stick around. Like like with the partnerships been only going for a year and a bit, really, to be
Yeah.
honest, and nearly everyone's still in there. So like I'm very proud of that. So, and generally just to give you an idea in the agency world and stuff, like we're not like a traditional agency anyway, it's a partnership, but in the agency world, it's about 2 months. 2 months people stick around. So, like it night and day really. When you learn like stuff like what I've been learning lately, I would highly recommend you look at your retention rate. If it's not good, work on that because there's no marketing in the world that will fix that. So that churn thing. But once that's good, I think the average in the industry, like a good point is about 5%, I think. Generally what I've been told. If you work out your churn to be about 10%, that's a big problem you need to fix. So yeah, that's then obviously lifetime value and churn is one of the similar things anyway. So that's why I'm bringing that up. One of the last questions I want to ask you, if someone's on the fence on thinking about the partnership, what would you say to them? What kind of how will it help them?
if if you want to if you want to grow your business, yeah, and you're willing to work, yeah, and I don't think anyone in business is not willing to put the time and effort in. That is an absolute no-brainer in terms of the opportunity for growth, yeah. But if you're not willing to commit to a prolonged period of time, you know, how long does it teach you as a martial arts coach to get someone through the first stance? Is it the first lesson that they can do it perfectly, or does it take a period of time? So for me, you know, 12 months you have to commit to. You, it is you who set the budget, yeah, in terms of how much you're going to spend in marketing. But the marketing cost versus reward and the partnership, all what's included in the partnership, it's such a no-brainer in terms of if you're thinking about, well, I'm not sure, I would jump right in there. I would say, no, I'm sure. I'm going to give it 12 months. I know what I want to spend in terms of my budget for marketing. Yeah. Swat and the team will advise how best to spend that to get your bang for your buck. But beyond that, Swat mentioned about the churn. You know, it's all the elements of improving our business and moving it forward that that yeah, in a year for me, it's been amazing, and this year's going to be even better for us. So, anyone who speaks to me, I'm like, you should get on it straight away. You should get on it straight away. Whether you're just starting off and you're a one-man band and you're doing everything, it gives you a breathing space, yeah, and it gives you the opportunity to be with people that will help you be successful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, thanks for saying that as well. It's
It's
just,
true. Because I
yeah,
wouldn't say it unless it was. It was true.
I think business is hard doing it alone, the way I look at it. This is why we built like a community aspect to it as well. The partnership, we're here to help you grow. So if you're interested, reach out. I'm not one of them hard sales kind of people at all. If it interests you, just reach out and I'll just send you the details. But I'm hoping you got some value from watching this anyway. It wasn't just talking about the partnership. Wanted to give you some good ideas, good things that you maybe the time is not right for you. That's fine, but at least I'm hoping this video we shared quite a lot in here. So there's quite a lot of things that you need to be working on if you're not already doing them. But business is it doesn't need to be hard. Systems is your answer. Getting good lead flow in, that's the big answer as well. And where your leads are leaking out your leaky bucket, all you need to do is fix that in with people that love getting on phones. And there's lots of other things, but that's just like a quick summary. Um, but no, thank you, Richard. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing so much as well. And I hope you guys who are watching this got value from this. Let me know. Until then, uh, take care, everyone, and I will speak to you soon.
Bye.